Hey everyone, thank you for joining us on today's Mad Insurance Show, Making a Difference in Insurance. I'm your host, Justin Holland with Texas State Insurance Services and Palmetto Life Group. We're so glad that you're here. I've got a special guest that I'm going to introduce here in a minute for the show, but just want to do some housekeeping. Remember, I'm with Texas State Insurance Services. We're a local insurance brokerage out of San Antonio. We've got 4 locations here in San Antonio, one in McAllen servicing the South Texas area. And Texas State Insurance Services focuses on individual health insurance, alternative coverage options, Medicare plans for seniors, as well as small and large group employee benefits. So we'd love to visit with you on that. You can give us a call at 210-880-5316 or visit us online at txstateinsurance.com. And then we'd also want to give you some awareness on Palmetto Life Group. Palmetto Life Group is a division that we created for life insurance, long-term care, Social Security analysis, as well as the life insurance with living benefits. But we're excited. This past fall, we decided to bring in auto, home, umbrella policies, and commercial. You can reach us there at 877-357-5316 or visit palmettolifegroup.com. On today's show, we're going to obviously visit with a guest that I'm going to introduce here in a minute. We're going to talk about some Medicare Advantage trends, possibly on what we can see for the 2026 new year, and that's I'm really excited about this guest because we're a real big fan of this carrier. We're also going to talk about the great health insurance plan that's come to fruition, and interesting topic that I'm going to talk about to close out the show. And then one more breaking news update from United Healthcare regarding individual health insurance. I'll bring that up as well. But without further ado, I've got JJ Ortiz with Scan Health Plans. And Scan Health Plans is a carrier that we really like what they're doing. They're really broker focused, which in turn relays to the client focus and the actual enrollment of the in person enrolling in the plan. And man, I can't thank you enough, JJ, for coming on, talking to us. We'll go over some topics and cut you loose for the day. But man, we're excited to have you here.
Well, I'm excited to be here, and thank you for the opportunity to be on this show. So, thanks, Justin.
You got it, JJ. What we'll probably dialed into, which I'm interested, because you've been in this business a while. We were talking about in the lobby of here at the station before recording the show. Just give us some background. It looks like it's a lot of it's been Medicare driven, and would like to get some background, and then we'll go over, you know, Scan Health. We'll go over some of the industry trends. But can you give us a little background on JJ?
Yeah, absolutely. So been in the industry since 2008. So I'm aging myself here, but
You're just
uh,
getting warmed up.
right, exactly. I've been in the industry for a while. Started as an agent, so I know what it's like to be out in the field, both as a captive agent and 1099 agent. And then, started working for Texan Plus, Universal American.
Remember you bringing that up?
Yeah,
Yeah.
managing them in Dallas, and then they'd asked me to come over to Houston to manage that. So we went from 30,000 members to 90,000 members in 3 years,
Wow.
and got purchased by WellCare.
Okay.
So
Remember
from
you
then,
bringing.
I started running Texas and Louisiana. So very familiar with the whole Texas market, right? Uh, and then we were purchased by Centene after that. So then I started running one side of the national sales distribution for Centene for about 3.5, 4 years.
And so the
Uh,
audience knows
yep.
Centene, very large health insurance carrier. A lot of people just know Blue Cross and United, the Humanas. Centene, make no mistake, is a large insurance company.
They are. You're right. ACA, Medicaid, and their Medicare side as well. So very large. Like one of the stats was like 1 in 6 people were somehow insured by
Connected to
Centene.
a
Yeah,
plan. Well, I believe it.
so quite a bit. But yeah, big insurance plan. They're like not well known, right? Because they have all the different plans underneath them. Uh, but then so now I'm currently with Scan. Running the Texas New Mexico market for Scan. I think I told you whenever I got here in August. I looked at the membership and it was a little bit under 500 members in Texas, and we've had a remarkable year thanks to people like yourself and everybody in Houston and San Antonio, and we're nudging on 4,000 now for
Man, that
January
is
when we're
that is
first.
incredible. And I wanna add to that because I think that's a testament not only to what Scan brings to the table to the consumer, but the team that y'all have got. You've got in yourself, JJ, Erica here locally. I just y'all actually care, and that resonates. I think not just to us agent brokers that are working really hard to provide value to our consumer, but you got it's a two-way street, man. You're meeting us halfway there, and I think that is a
Absolutely.
huge factor in y'all's success and growth here in Texas.
Yeah, no, I mean, that's great. I that's what we believe in, like, and that's reason I wanted to join Scan. I started doing some research, asked, some people in the industry that I've known nationally and, especially that have worked in California as well, because that's where Scan is predominantly known, right? Um, so when I looked into it and I saw what was happening in this industry as well too, I knew this was a huge opportunity, that we could grow this thing pretty quickly
No
and
question.
scale it, in the right way too. We are a nonprofit, which I think is huge because we
Hmm.
don't have to worry about shareholders, making sure that they make their
Oh yeah,
whatever percentage every quarter. So we reinvest back into the members. So we answer to three people, right? We're three groups. It's our members, our brokers, and our providers, and that's what we worry about.
pretty good recipe
Yeah,
there.
and it's working. It's we just not here in Texas, but nationally, we had the greatest year we've ever had. Scan.
Man, and that's huge, and I follow, y'all's executive leadership online as well, Sasha and Jane, and he's been vocal out there in the business and in the industry and really liking his take and style, so to speak. There's got a lot of people out in other industries that I like, the banking industry, you got Jamie Dimons and stuff like
Yeah.
that out there. I he's a breath of fresh air, Sasha and Jane with Scan Health on, for agent brokers like us and the consumers to know too. I mean, I think he's fielded some messages actually
So yeah,
from the last meeting that we had for the fall kickoff. I
yeah,
mean,
he
that's
does that.
right.
He gives members, he gives brokers his actual phone number and email address.
Incredible.
And right, what CEO does that?
No,
There's not anybody, and if they do, they probably don't answer. He does. He answers it, and if he doesn't, he'll find the answers with someone on his
I'm
team.
a big loyalty guy, and when you've got leadership like that will get in the trenches with you, man, they obviously believe in what they're doing in the product that you've got to offer. But at the same time, I mean, I wanna work with people like that.
Yeah,
So
me too, and that's another thing, as I was going through the process of, coming aboard, I did get to speak to him as well, and then I heard him speak at Medicarians, and, I think he opened some eyes, and that's a great thing. I think the industry needs their eyes open, right? Like,
no
I think
question.
we need to take care of the members better, quit worrying about, making a profit all the time, make sure the members are taken care of before, and I think that's where we're super member focused, and that's what we believe in, and, again, he takes emails, he takes calls, and if there's an issue, he gets make sure that it's solved. We don't want to lose that one member, even if it's just one member, right? People think, oh, it's one member. We don't want to lose any members, so we try our best to keep them all.
Man, I like that you're bringing that up. You don't even want to lose one member because I will tell you, we're a decent sized agent broker agency here that focuses on all types of benefits. But you lose those clients, and it can add up, it's not just that, the bottom line of the company and that revenue, but it's taking pride. Hey, I want to make sure these clients want to do business with us and refer us, and we're playing the long game for our clients so we can hopefully be, their agent and their family members and their
Yep.
grandkids agents. And I see that initiative in Scan. So that's exciting.
Yeah, absolutely. Again, and that's what we're, our mission is to make sure that our members are healthy and they be able to live independently too. So that we take pride in that. We knew we were going to grow this year, so we started scaling
Hmm.
member service. I know there's still some hiccups, right? It's
Oh yeah.
January, and then I think everybody's going to have that, but it's
Across
getting
the
better every
board.
week.
No,
Exactly.
no question. I've been doing this 12 years. This was the most challenging enrollment season that we've ever had. And it was frustrating because even some of our clients were getting frustrated. We were trying to reach back out to everybody that we can. You got statements that go out. I mean, for example, I had a carrier send out a notice to hundreds of our clients. So that means they send it out to tens of thousands of other people out there as well regarding billing. And when people get that statement in the mail, they panic. Man, our phone was blowing up on
I'm sure.
Tuesday for that as well. So you've got not only trying to help engage your clients, but the servicing and the back support, and there's a lot of movement, a lot of activity from service, sales, and support in the
Absolutely, and
Medicare business.
right, and the one nice thing too about we're still we're large, right? We're over 500,000 members nationally.
Very cool.
Uh, but I can still, if you've got an issue, I can still go to someone quickly.
Hmm.
I don't have to go through a lot of red tape and get it answered within that day or 2 days, right? And solve some issues for members. Where other places, right? It's just too big. You can't do that. So I love that we can still do that. I can still pick up the phone or shoot an email and get an answer pretty quickly to solve things.
I'm glad you're bringing that up too, because I think scan is as you grow and you're trying to scale, but also increase that support staff and to where that's it's I don't know how the way everything levels out,
Yep.
or balances out off of that. So that's another a great point, to bring up regarding the value I'll bring
Yep.
to the table off of that as well.
Yeah, we a good thing is we try and get in front of things instead of letting it happen, right? We don't wanna react.
Oh, I
So
trust me. I and listen, I even in the early stages of our business and building that up, you learn, so hey, okay, this didn't work. It didn't work that last time. Let's
yep,
try this. And real excited for our growth with you guys. And it's just been a breath of fresh air. Clients are liking the benefits as well. So we're excited about that. We really can't talk about benefits, but I just wanted to get the assessment of you as a regional director for Scan, the executive management that we both agree is
yep.
exceptional, and the proof is in what the clients, the consumers saying about that, and enrollment numbers like that, something's working.
Yeah,
You know,
exactly. No, I agree. And we again, I think our benefits are very, very, very good, right? And it's about sustaining them, right? Is the other thing, right? That's what we want to make sure we keep. You don't want to, you know, take benefits away from people every year and then switch back and forth. So that's our biggest thing too, is trying to keep everything is the same for years to come. That way we keep that membership and continue to grow.
what do you think, JJ, are some of the challenges, and not specifically to us as an agent broker? It could be the consumer, it could be Scan, the carrier. Any headwinds that you think that we're going to need to be prepared for in the coming months, the coming years? I'm just curious. You've been in this business a while, so I'm curious, kind of your take on that. I don't need you to pull out the crystal ball, but just curious of what you
Yeah.
think.
No, I mean, so what I see a lot of more chronic plans coming. I
Okay.
think we saw that this year
Yeah, we did.
for a couple of different reasons, right? They're specific. For instance, if whether diabetic or you know cardio disease, whatever it is, right? It's specific to that member. It helps, right? Quality keeps them out of hospital because you're giving them things for preventative services, right?
Yeah.
So I think we'll start seeing a lot more C-SNP plans. I think we won't see as many PPO plans. I think that started happening this year as well.
That's a great point. Let's talk
Yeah.
about that real quick. So you bring up for the audience here that's listening to the show on the radio, or you're following us online on our YouTube channel or the podcast. JJ's bringing up two really good points. He brought up chronic plans or special needs plans. We are living longer lives, everybody. Okay. We're just not necessarily living healthier lives. And a lot of people might have a chronic heart condition. They might have a chronic diabetic condition. There's these conditions that are specialized and are elevated in the industry of Medicare. And the carriers are saying, hey, we're going to step up plans specifically for those needs. And they've been very well received and they're absolutely growing with carriers. The other thing that JJ brought up was PPOs. Everybody wants a PPO network. I brought this up on last week's show. Everybody wants the PPO, right? Well, PPOs are different for group insurance plans. They're different for even individual health or coverage plans, and they're very different on Medicare. You're subject to a network, and that network might be smaller than you think it is. So I agree with you, and I've wanted to chime in because I think there's going to be a day where, like, what was a PPO plan?
I, well, I agreed. I think especially on the MA space, right? Like, great to think that you can go anywhere, right? But can you really go anywhere you want to, right? And then if you go out of network, you're probably going to pay a lot more money, right,
Oh
to
yeah,
go see them. So is it worth it, right? And I think, and then on the carrier side, the quality, not being able to track everything, right? Because if they go out of network, well, you may not get a response from that out of work network doctor as to what happened, right? And being able to track that back to CMS. So
Great
it's a
point.
it's a big, and I think that's what hurt. PPOs got really big for about 2 or 3 years,
Oh,
right?
yeah.
And now we're seeing a lot less PPOs. I think in a couple of years may not see any. To your point,
I think those are gonna go away. I mean, look what happened to the Affordable Care Act. There was, like, 1 or 2 years, I can't remember exactly, it's been a while, but I'll never forget, I still have it on my Facebook memories, I think, when I posted a video from Blue Cross. They said, "Hey, we're gonna exit PPO plans on the individual market, and here's why." And everybody followed suit, on
yeah,
that as well, and that was just the individual Affordable Care Act market.
right. And managed care is a big thing, right? And you can do it on an HMO because you're going to your PCP and he or she is sending them to the specialist
You
they
got
work
that
with.
chassis for it.
Exactly, exactly. So it's a big thing for the member and for for the broker and for the carrier. Like it's a big thing to be able to keep them. It's preventative, right? We don't want them going to the hospital. We want to keep them healthy. So I think that's why another reason HMOs. Back in what 20, 30 years ago, HMOs were a bad thing.
Yeah, and I think that's evolved.
Absolutely.
As the networks grow, more doctors are realizing, hey, I probably need a contract with this carrier. And again, those negotiations between the carrier and the doctors. But I think a lot of my clients over the years are like, hey, you know what? So that HMO gives me this and this and this, and all my doctors. Yeah, all your doctors are in network. Okay, you know what? Let's try it. So that's been nice too to
Yep.
see that evolve.
And I think, and you're in this industry, I think with employer groups, there are a lot of HMOs too. So people are coming out of those and seeing it. They've used it before, right?
Yeah,
Like in
they
the
have.
past, it wasn't that way. So they didn't want to get an HMO. Now they're already in one. So they know how to work it, right? They know that that's staying network.
That's a great point. We've had many of our group benefits clients, where it could be a 10 to 20 group, 50 plus or hundreds, and they have initiated an HMO plan just because of the
Yep.
costs. JJ, one of the shows that I was bringing up a few weeks ago is the fact that and we're talking hundreds of group clients that we handle employee benefits for. I can probably on one hand count how many had either a zero or single digit
Wow.
increase. Okay. Everybody was double digits. We had people getting increases from 40, 50, 100 plus percent
Wow.
in some cases on their employee benefits health premiums. Man, they didn't have a choice but to offer maybe an HMO to try to, sink
Yeah.
those costs, especially for employers 50 and higher. They have to offer coverage, and they got to try to offer it affordable. In
Right.
most cases, they can, but you're absolutely right. HMOs have brought into the employee benefits market more than what we've probably seen years prior.
Yep. Agreed. Agreed.
So PPOs, chronic plans. We discussed on that. Anything else that you see on the horizon that we might want to consider?
You know, I, Not really. I think those are the biggest things. And like, there's some talk about the reimbursement back to carriers, right? From
Okay.
CMS. So I think, that can affect things, right? But how benefits, going forward as well.
Yeah.
So I think you might still see some, next couple of years, maybe next year, some benefit changes, or maybe everybody stays the same. It all really going to depend on how reimbursement
So
ends up
let's
being
dive
changed.
into that with the audience for a minute too, and then we'll wrap up here in just a minute with JJ Ortiz of Scan. And actually, you know what? I'll bring up the show identification. If you're just joining us right now online or on the radio, you're listening to the Mad Insurance Show, making a difference in insurance. I'm your host Justin Holland with Texas State Insurance Services and Palmetto Life Group, and I've got JJ Ortiz with Scan Health joining us today as well. And we're having a kind of a back and forth on why we like Scan, what they're doing for the industry, what we see in the industry going on, and JJ just brought up, another, maybe I guess it would be a concern, but the way Medicare is funding Medicare Advantage plans, or just in Medicare in general, it could be prescription drug plans, it could be the supplement plans, you know, that could tighten up. We've seen it tighten up, and we've seen benefits that a lot of individuals have taken advantage of or utilized shrink or just flat out go away.
Right.
So another great point, JJ. Some of the benefits that we see with these specifically Medicare Advantage plans could shrink or go away. But something I want to add, and then you can add to this as well. I see Scan embracing while other carriers are scaling back, I see Scan doubling down,
Yeah.
on the benefits. Am I wrong by saying that? I mean, it
No,
just seems that way.
no, I think there's an opportunity, right? And I think us being nonprofit helps back to the
Agreed.
point of we can reinvest back in to the benefits, right? For the members, right? So where other companies just can't do that, right?
Other
They
carriers have shareholders to answer to and
exactly.
all of that, and you've got to find that out, and I'll tell you too, selfishly, agent brokers, we help a lot of people with insurance plans that we don't get paid on, yet we are challenged where if there's an issue, it could affect errors and emissions insurance claims, stuff like that. We do a pretty good job and haven't had any issues, but, man, that's been tough. I've seen other agents, and I'll tell you right now, I saw people charging a couple $100 for consultations. I don't think we need to do that yet. I think we're just having to get that entrepreneur spirit. We pivot a little bit. That's why we've brought other lines of business. But no question, you're bringing up another good point of things maybe contracting a little bit, and that affects not only plans in some cases, but affects how agent brokers are compensated
Right.
because we go out and shop everything for these
Yep.
clients. And there are times where, hey, it is in the best interest of this client going with a product that we're not gonna get reimbursed on.
Right.
And that's been tough, but, I think, the strong will survive. I think we'll reevaluate that and assess that as we see how Medicare evolves.
Yeah,
Uh,
absolutely.
Am I taking a good
No,
point on
yeah, no, you
is
are. Yeah, I totally agree. And again, some of those things happen, right? Like compensation, maybe not paying a commission on some plans. We are paying all of ours. We even do HRAs still. Um, but I think you'll see some benefit changes, in the future. And I think some for good. Sometimes it's for good, right? Like
yeah,
I think some people, we got to a point in times we were using supplemental benefits instead of what the true meaning of a Medicare Advantage plan. It's a health insurance plan, right?
correct.
And people were using it for whether the dental or whatever, right? Like it's a big thing, right? It is. But if on the health side of it, it's not right for them, then they need to make sure this is a health insurance plan when they're selling it or offering it to a client instead of a dental
Man, that's
plan.
a great point because a lot of times and we'll wrap up with this, JJ, for our visit. We're competing against those radio ads, the TV ads, the cold calling, and everybody's trying to pitch this, I can't tell you how many times I get a phone call. "Hey, Justin, man, the thousands of dollars are gonna give me ditto.
Yeah.
Hey, they're gonna cover my groceries. Hey, they're gonna give me back money on my Part B." There's so much noise out there, and I'm like, "Hey, you're absolutely right. That is offered. We're a broker. We can help you look at that plan, but remember, this is why we did this plan over this one, because if you wanna go get this plan, no problem, but this benefit will go away,
Yep. Yeah. Yeah.
or you'll lose this doctor." And I think, that's huge for us as agent brokers. That's the value we bring to
Exactly.
to educate them on what they could be losing just because they think this extra benefit is worth it with another carrier.
Yep. I 100% agree. The flex card deal has gotten a big
Oh,
thing
yeah.
with the groceries and all that, which I think everybody now has. We have one as well on certain plans, right? But I think it's a good thing because people are needing that, but it can't be sold with just that. To back to
Correct.
your point, because you may be losing a doctor or you may be losing something that you really need, right? This is a health insurance plan, not a gift card plan.
There could no doubt be a disruption off of that. JJ, I can't thank you enough for joining us on the show today, giving us a few minutes to talk about Scan and your journey in the business. Can we wrap up and you just give me and the audience just some details on Scan Health and where what you can provide, a little history there, and then we'll wrap up.
Yeah, absolutely. So, again, we're member focused, right? We're nonprofit, started back in 1977. They call them 12 Angry Seniors. They decided they could make healthcare better themselves, so they started this nonprofit. Again, 1977. So we may be new in Texas, right? 3 or 4 years, but we're not new in the industry. So
No
been
doubt.
around for a long time. Had the highest membership ever going in this year, 1-1 that Scans ever had the best AEP ever as well. And we continue to grow. We're California, we're very well known, right? We're now, getting well known in Nevada, Arizona, New Mexico, Texas. And then Washington was a new state for us
Very
this year
cool.
too. So we continue to grow. They soon, hopefully, will be a true. I think we already are a national player.
I think so too.
I think the whole being a small regional. I think now we're becoming a national player, and we'll soon be hopefully, going, for other states as well. And again, bringing the member focus, the broker focus, and working with providers. Like that's the biggest thing we do. When we go into places, we make sure we have a relationship with a group, right? We don't want to just go in there and try and grow without any, providers in the area or in the county. So we want to make sure we have providers and we're strategic about it, and not just jumping into 10 different counties and not having adequacy.
No, y'all have absolutely been strategic. I've seen other carriers where they'll probably branch off where they probably shouldn't have, and then they'll scale back, and get out of a market. Scan Health has been very well received by our clients. Love what you guys are doing here at a local level. JJ, you and Erica are just always here and just make it inviting for us to ask questions. Man, that's huge because this is a challenging market for Medicare and agent brokers like us to help out our valued customers and clients and longtime clients. I mean, we've got clients that have been with us over a decade. So I cannot thank y'all enough for what y'all are doing. And, man, I'm so glad you were able to make it here,
Yeah,
before heading out of town, and hopefully we'll be able to have you back as
absolutely.
we see things, change without the through the industry.
Yeah,
It's sign of the times
right.
right now. So
No,
thanks so much, JJ.
yeah, thanks for having me, and I look forward to being back. And again, anytime you need anything, let me know. And I appreciate what you do as well. Like that
Man,
means you guys. I always tell everybody we work for y'all. Because without you, we don't have any membership. So thank you for everything you
JJ,
do.
y'all are true partners, and we can't thank you enough. Thanks for joining us, man.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, safe
Thanks, Justin.
travels today.
Thank you.
Hey everyone, thanks for joining us today on the Mad Insurance Show. I'm your host, Justin Holland. We just wrapped up a interview and visit with JJ Ortiz with Scan Health Plans, and what a great visit. I need to stress this again. Really excited about what that insurance carrier is bringing to the market and helping San Antonio specifically with another great option for a Medicare plan. So, man, really good to talk to JJ. Hopefully, we'll have him on for another show. And but just like what's happening there, we like their style, the support they provide agent brokers like us out in the field, as well as the executive leadership that we touched on as well with Scan Health. Great company, great product, and we're so glad they were able to join us. Um, just as a reminder, if you have any questions regarding health insurance, because we do everything insurance here, or we talk about everything insurance on the show. But if you needed some more information regarding Medicare, individual health, employee benefits, give us a call at Texas State Insurance Services. 210-880-5316 is the direct line number there, as well as visiting us online at txstateinsurance.com. I do want to do a plug. I forgot to do this a minute ago on our YouTube channel. You can go to youtube.com/@ Mad Insurance Show, where you can just Google the Mad Insurance Show and you'll probably find it online as well. But we'd love to have you like and follow. We're trying to get all of our videos up there and then our short clips. That is a full time job to try to make sure we get awareness out there and the value we're trying to bring regarding everything insurance for y'all. And then, as another reminder, Palmetto Life Group is where we can help you out with life insurance, long term care, even some retirement options, Social Security analysis. A lot of people need to see and assess and size up their Social Security or what they can plan to get from that. And then we've added auto, home, and commercial lines to help out as well. So, Palmetto Life Group, you can go to palmettolifegroup.com or visit us as 866-357-5316. So, great visit with Scan Health. Let's talk about some news here in the industry. And I was going to talk about the great healthcare plan on this segue, but let's talk about um, some breaking news that just hit the airwaves, or something that I saw actually late last night, is the fact that United Healthcare had some breaking news on let's see here. Let me pull up the article. United Healthcare CEO Hemsley says insurer rebate ACA profits to consumers. That's a big headline. United Healthcare says it will rebate the ACA Affordable Care Act profits to its consumers. It looks like in the year 2026. Now I need to get some details on this. That's a huge headline. That is big news, and I think we need to get some more information. But let's dig in to this as well. I'm going to go to thehill.com. United Healthcare promises to return Obamacare profits to consumers. Let's dive into this a little bit more. And again, this is just within last night, a few hours ago. The largest national health insurance carrier provider in the U.S. is planning a return of profits it makes in the Affordable Care Act marketplace to consumers in 2026. CEO and Chair Stephen Hemsley is expected to announce the idea when he appears before House Committee. It looks like Thursday, today. Actually, we're recording the show on a Thursday. You hear it, or we launch it over the weekend on Saturday evenings. But more than likely, we'll probably have another. Once again, we break news today or on the show, and then the following show we'll have a follow up on how things played out for that breaking news. But let's dive into a little bit more here on this. United Healthcare is a relatively small participant in the individual ACA market. And I think they're a bigger player than we think. I need to look at those stats. We will voluntarily eliminate and rebate our profits this year for these coverages as Congress continues to work towards more long-term solutions in the anticipated remarks to the state. That's huge. United Healthcare, one of the largest insurance carriers on the planet, saying they're going to rebate the consumers the profits. There's some activity, there's some movement going on in health insurance within, obviously a week of the last update that we've got on subsidies not being expanded. The Affordable Care Act deadline to enroll in coverage ended on January 15th. So, man, this is going to be interesting how this plays out, and I think it's important. But definitely, United Healthcare is coming in and creating some big news with this. About 1 million of United Healthcare's customers are enrolled in Affordable Care Act plans on the marketplace, making it one of the smaller actors. Okay, that's the stat. I thought they had more out there. I will tell you, Texas State Insurance Services, our local brokerage, we had a lot of clients move over to United Healthcare for this year. Um, Premiums were actually pretty aggressive, so that was well received by the clients. We were noticing that more doctors were in network for clients versus some of the carriers, so price helped, network availability, and not just that, but network availability on the doctors, but the hospital networks, the urgent cares. That was a factor. We even had clients in rural areas outside of San Antonio where the United plan was offered, so they had the peace of mind knowing, hey, I know I'm out in this rural area, but I've got great doctors and facilities that I can access and utilize in the San Antonio area as well. A little bit more on here. Hemsley is one of the several health insurance executives summoned by the House Republicans to testify on Thursday for a series of hearings focused on rising costs and the current state of health insurance care affordability and the role they played with the large and the way the large insurance companies play a role in that. So we got through the new year, got through the open enrollment of the Affordable Care Act, and we saw a lot of news. There was no expanded subsidies of the expanded subsidies; those weren't renewed. Basic subsidies stayed in place, but now we're seeing some movement. As of yesterday, they're going to talk about this probably as I'm recording this show at Capitol Hill. They're bringing up, um, you know, some issues and going to hopefully come up with some solutions for affordable health insurance. Wrapping up this article, executives from CVS Health, Cigna Healthcare, Elevance Health, Blue Cross Blue Shield of California were also invited. That's interesting that CVS Health is joining them because CVS Health or basically Aetna CVS Health, they got out of the Affordable Care Act business. They pulled out. United Healthcare pulled out of the Affordable Care Act plans years ago, and then finally came back into the market, and now they've got big news that they're rebating profits. So, man, it has been a whirlwind of changes, and I'm excited. I mean, we're seeing some movement here on the affordable insurance argument, and hopefully next week we'll have some news and another update on the show. While not specifically focused on ACA, the hearings occur against the backdrop of ongoing debate over Obamacare subsidies, which are meant to lower monthly premiums for tens of millions of low and middle income Americans. Enhanced premium ACA credits expired on December 31st, which I just brought up, resulting in higher out of pocket costs and a drop in enrollment. So, no question that's having a lot to do with what's going on in the health insurance industry right now. The closing of this article, the Hemsley, who's referenced in this article, is expected to suggest several other policy solutions the company believes would improve ACA marketplace for consumers, including expanding eligibility for lower cost plans and broker standardizing broker compensation. As an agent broker, I'm curious how that will play out as well, because we have to front load all the time, money, and effort to be able to educate clients on their plans. And then we make a small commission or fee, whatever you want to call it, for helping our consumers navigate all the plans and getting in with that specific carrier. So you could see a shrink in agent brokers out there, that aren't diversified in the business and industry. And we play a vital role in that. I mean, just before today's show, I had an early morning appointment on the far west side of San Antonio, and the client was struggling to review, her explanation of benefits, getting charged on medications, doctors wanting to charge her more than what she should on the copay. And without us being her agent broker, she's just left with having to navigate that with customer support or service and becomes a number, so to speak, with the insurance carrier. When you have an agent broker that is hands-on, a good agent broker, then you're going to be in a good spot. They're going to help you navigate that probably pretty quickly, like what we did this morning. We sized up that situation very quickly. We said, okay, here's our action plan on what we need to do to check on why you're being billed this. And I hopefully these carriers don't discount what agent brokers do for the consumer, because I think we provide exceptional value. I don't think everybody does, but I think we do selfishly with Texas State Insurance Services. But I wanted to remind everybody you're listening to the Mad Insurance Show, making a difference in insurance. I'm your host, Justin Holland. We just had Scan Health come in. JG Ortiz, the regional broker director for the area, joined us, and we visited with him a moment ago. So if you missed that, you can go to our YouTube channel and see that recording on YouTube of our discussion with Scan. Brought up the breaking news on United Healthcare, basically saying they're going to rebate the profits to their clients, so which is huge. I haven't seen any other carrier bring that up, so all of my clients that went with United Healthcare for this new year are probably excited about that. Some of the clients that maybe went with another carrier for whatever reason that we helped out with might wish they would have gone United. That'll still play out with that breaking news. The other thing that I wanted to visit with on the show today, and we'll probably, talk about this the rest of the show, is the great health care plan that was touted by the Trump administration last week when we wrapped up the Affordable Care Act deadline of the 15th. Basically, on Thursday, the great healthcare plan was they had a video that the White House released. They had a website to go and see those, the talking points. Basically, they were talking points. There really wasn't too much substance on that. And I came across an article yesterday that was pretty critical of that. And I hate to say that because I'm an optimist. I want to see things work, and I want to see things help out our consumers and get affordable health insurance out there. But the article, this article that I found, it was by, thebulwark.com by one of their, writers there. Trump's great healthcare plan is not great. It's not even a plan. So I saw that the headline. I was like, "Hey, I need to dive into this article and see what they say about that," because we were so busy wrapping up the open enrollment deadline. We're just now finally able to kinda take stock on any breaking news in the industry. And basically, they kicked off the article. Donald Trump on Thursday rolled out what he is calling the Great Healthcare Plan. The single most important thing to know about is that it's not really a plan, and that was the headline of this article. And what I did is I put together some notes to talk about um, on that subject. So let's dive into that. So the first thing is, let's set the stage, the opening context of the Great Health Care Plan. Former President Trump rolled out what he's calling the Great Health Care Plan. The headline sounds big, but it's not a real plan. It's just basically what they'd like to see or impose on Congress to try to figure out. It's a summary, and it didn't have any numbers, no legislation roadmap. There wasn't a group of experts or a team to answer any questions on what they're rolling out. Say, hey, listen, this is great, but what about this, this, and this? There's been really nothing to back that up. Now, maybe they do have that, and they just haven't brought that up yet, or bringing that out to the public, or maybe they don't. That'll remain to be seen as we go into the next few weeks. But a true healthcare plan would include cost estimates, timelines, clear policy mechanics, and a congressional strategy. And really, nothing has been laid out on that for what we can see. Hopefully, that will change. So, why the policy experts are shrugging this off? The great healthcare plan. Okay, whatever. Let's see what happens. A lot of people are discounting it. The entire proposal that they talk about in this article is 800 words. Okay, it's shorter than many of the social media posts that the White House or Trump administration put out there. So much of it restates executive actions already taken, old Republican or right leaning talking points. There's no coordination with Congress, which is essential for the healthcare reform. I mean, that's how this is going to get fixed or even passed. Even with healthcare lobbyists, they say, this really doesn't help Congress do anything. So that's concerning. Maybe they brought that out to the public to try to, hey, calm us down a little bit, but it's not helping. I still have clients that dropped health insurance coverage because they couldn't afford it anymore. We've got clients that are struggling to pay for their health insurance because they really need it. Even those clients that dropped it, a lot of them really needed to keep that health insurance to keep them healthy with a chronic condition that they might be dealing with. A couple other things to talk about. Political timing matters. On this article, we the notes that I've taken in, ACA premiums have increased over 20 for over 20 million Americans due to the expiration of the enhanced subsidies. Keep on bringing this up. I've had prior shows where we talked about what we were really seeing, hands down or hands on with our clients. Premiums from a couple $100 going to over 1,000. Premiums going from $1,600 to $1,800 for a family to going almost to $4,000 a month in premium. That is devastating, and continues to be devastating for individuals that really need to have health insurance for themselves or for the rest of the family. Republicans are hearing serious backlash from their constituents. Okay, I've had an open man. I had a person knock on my door with Tony Gonzalez's office with his campaign, and he's my local congressman. And I said, "Hey, I've been reaching out to you. I've been wanting to try to get Tony on the show so we can talk about health insurance reform or affordable health insurance. I'd love to get his take on that." Reached out to their campaign, and hopefully we can have them in because I want to know what our congressmen are talking about. There's other talking about, hey, the border's secure. We're good there. We've got other facets that have been corrected or taken care of. This should be on the forefront for everyone is affordable health insurance. Okay. And this is me going on a rant real quick, but we're sending millions and billions tens of billions of dollars overseas or for other programs, and we can't stick the landing on affordable health insurance for the most prosperous and financially well off country on the planet. Come on. I'm hoping we get some traction and we get some solutions. We've got some really smart people over there in Washington, and some of them not so smart, but I would like to see them really focus and tackle this. I think it's huge. I think it's going to become a bit more of a bigger problem, and let's see what happens. Let's keep on diving into the notes that we created on this article I found. The pressure forced 17 Republicans to vote with Democrats in the House to extend those expanded subsidies that went away. So you didn't have a you had people break off from the right leaning part of the aisle and said, "Hey, listen, we've got constituents that are really hurting here. We need to extend this at least for the time being." It still hasn't gotten passed through the Senate, or actually, the Senate did reject it, but bipartisan talks are ongoing and stalled. So they initially had rejected it, but they're still talking about it. Let's see how that plays out. I'm not going to hold my breath. Neither should you. Um, Number 4 talking point I put together here was what Trump did to endorse and why is it problematic. Trump loosely endorsed two ideas: diverting subsidies into health spending accounts. Okay, great idea. I've got a lot of clients that utilize a health savings account. Sounds appealing. Send the money directly to the people. The reality of that is you got to qualify or have a plan that allows you to do that, and it's typically a high deductible plan. So you'll just have your annual physicals and what's ever baked in for your annual into that plan covered, where it's not out of pocket or some exams. But anything outside of that, copays for medications, copays for the doctors, a procedure, you're going to have to meet that deductible in most of those plans. So even though they would help divert money to these HSAs, I I've got a lot of people that still use HSAs, but they gobble up all that money for all the copays and everything they do throughout the year. So let's see if it really takes away from the HSA. You want to build up a war chest of cash over the time, and I love HSAs, but we got to really dive into if this will make sense or not. For anybody with real medical needs, the math just doesn't work, on that type of model. Higher deductibles, limited extra funding, higher out-of-pocket costs. Okay. I need somebody to explain how diverting those subsidies and throwing them into the HSAs is going to help. Just man, let's come up with some graphs. Let's talk about it. But we just haven't seen how that will break down just yet. The other problematic situation is the funding cost sharing reduction, the CSR. So marketed as lowering premiums and saving the government money. According to the Congressional Budget Office, it would actually raise cost for millions. Hundreds of thousands would likely lose their cost sharing reductions. Ironically, Trump previously eliminated this funding, and the insurers adapted to the ways that lowered premiums for the consumer. The proposal would reverse the progress. Let's dive into a little caveat here. Um, when we look at individual health insurance plans, the Affordable Care Act, you've got catastrophic plans. Not many people enroll in those, but sometimes they do. You've got bronze level plans and expanded bronze level plans that'll be high deductible, high maximum limits. But on the expanded bronze, they at least give you copays that you can have and not have to try to, meet a crazy deductible before those copays kick in. You've got silver tier level plans. It might be a little bit lower deductible and maximum limit, maybe more aggressive copays. Then you have gold plans that are going to be significantly lower deductibles and out of pocket maximums, and the copays can reflect that too. A lot of times you'll see stronger prescription drug coverage on some of these gold plans as well. And then there's platinum. There's no platinum individual plans. I can only offer group PPO platinum plans to our clients. Some states have platinum offering on their individual market. But where I'm going with this, catastrophic bronze, silver, gold, because that's what's just offered in Texas right now, is the silver plans are what qualify for these cost sharing reductions. And what happened is because this is how broken the system is, the silver plans actually cost more money to the carrier than the gold plans do. Okay. And the gold plans are more benefit rich. So sometimes a client might qualify for a cost sharing reduction, but the premium is just out of reach on that silver plan. And that silver plan could provide a 0 or maybe $1,000 maximum. I'm sorry, $1,000 deductible, maybe a couple $1,000 maximum. Very strong coverage with the cost sharing reduction, but they can't afford the monthly premium for that, even if it was being subsidized. So a lot of those consumers would have to either go to a gold plan, believe it or not, was less expensive than the silver plan, but have a higher deductible, have a higher maximum limit, and possibly higher copays. Or if that gold plan was still too expensive, they would have to go to a bronze or expanded bronze plan and be subject to an even higher deductible. So I could do a whole show just on that situation, but that's how broken the system has gotten on the Affordable Care Act. I have to remind everybody, I've seen the good, the bad, and the ugly with the Affordable Care Act, Obamacare, individual health insurance, the Medicare employee benefits, all of it. But that right there is something that needs to be addressed and fixed, and it might go away depending on this great healthcare plan, get some speed and momentum in the coming weeks and months. Drug pricing is missed on the opportunity of this great healthcare plan. Trump talks about lowering drug prices using most favored nation pricing, and the argument there is that, hey, you've got other countries on the planet that have their residents paying less for medications, far less than what we're paying here in the United States, and they're trying to level the playing field. I have clients that have to get medications out of the country because it's much less expensive than trying to get them here in the United States. Let's see how that plays out. Current agreements are going to be voluntary, it looks like, on prescription drugs. Doesn't look like there's any legislation or long-term impact on the drug pricing. Trump has not applied pressure to the Republicans to oppose it. Bottom line is no enforcement, no results. So if they're going to hold people accountable on this drug pricing, there's got to be some standards that need to be met, some criteria, and there's got to be repercussions if you don't play by the rules. I mean, look at the Affordable Care Act when it first came out. If you didn't have health insurance, you were going to get penalized. A lot of people don't remember that, but some people do. If you didn't have insurance when that came to fruition, you were going to get penalized. And that was a huge factor in that. There were repercussions. Let's see if they try to bring that to the table with the great healthcare plan. The bigger problem that this article brings up is no leadership to follow through. Trump has promised health care since 2015. I remember when he got elected and the Affordable Care Act was in full swing at the time. They're like, hey, okay, we're going to appeal it. You know what? We're just going to make it better. Nothing came to fruition, through that administration, the Biden administration, and now we are with Trump again. Maybe he can stick the landing on this year, but let's see. The real impact will hit when higher premiums bills arrive. Families decide coverage is no longer affordable. I just brought this up a minute ago. That's happening right now. These higher premiums are just devastating for these family members and individuals. So let's see how this plays out. I am optimistic on how the news will be for next week's show, but hopefully the information I provided today, especially with our guest Scan Health, provides some value. Again, you're visiting and listening to the Mad Insurance Show, making a difference in insurance here on KTSA 550. I'm your host, Justin Holland, with Texas State Insurance Services and Palmetto Life Group. Remember, if you have any questions regarding your insurance needs, or we brought up something that was a talking point that you wanted to learn more about, give us a call at 210-880-5316, and we'd love to visit with you. We've got workshops that we do for small businesses. We've got workshops for just the consumer out there regarding Medicare, Social Security, individual health insurance awareness. So just we want to make sure that you're aware that we're here. The Mad Insurance Show is here to provide value on all aspects of insurance. We'll have another great guest, more than likely, to join us next week. Very excited that we had Scan Health in here today. As a reminder, again, we've got 4 locations serving San Antonio and 1 in McAllen serving the Rio Grande Valley. So we'd love to help you out. Visit us at txstateinsurance.com. Also, I got to plug the radio show or the YouTube channel that we show the podcast and radio show on as well. youtube.com/@Mad Insurance Show. Thank you again, guys, for joining us. We're so glad that you tuned in. And you got any questions, just reach out to us. We'll see you next week, everybody. Take care.